Jive Hype Jeff from Two Hacks Garage. Well, I'm going to make a quick video for today. One reason being, we just finished up some work. It's going to be a few days before I get some more stuff going on. And I did throw out on my community post about getting my drag radials in. What I want to do is just kind of give a quick explanation of why I'm going with a drag radial over a street tire. One of them being, as you can see, this is a Cooper Cobra. It's a 275 60/15. Actually, it's a really good street tire, really nice. They're durable. They're actually fairly reasonably priced. And for a street tire, they actually don't hook too bad. That being said, I'm going to be throwing a lot of torque at this engine. Pretty decently high stall converter with 430 gears. These don't stand a chance. They absolutely don't stand a chance. Besides that, this type of tire really isn't, meant for a drag strip. You can get away with it, but in all honesty, it's really not meant for it. Some of the differences between a drag radial, a street tire, and like a bias ply radial, I'm going to get in that here in a second. But on an actual radial tire that's DOT approved, the sidewall is pretty thick. The tread is not super soft, sticky. It's kind of a little bit harder than your typical drag radial. So these really aren't meant for a burnout. You see people doing a lot of big smoky burnouts on these. Other than show, it really doesn't do anything. Because what happens is that these treads actually get like gummed up and balled up with all that burnt rubber. So you're really not doing yourself any good by doing a big smoky burnout on these, especially on a drag strip. It'll actually hurt you on that. So these aren't really good traction for a drag strip, but they are good for road use. If you were to be on a drag strip and you want to get as much traction as you can, just do a quick burnout, not a smoky one. You just want to scuff the tires up and clean them up and then go from there. Now, here's the difference between this tire and the drag radial. Let me show it to you real quick. So what I got here is a Mickey Thompson DOT, Mickey Thompson ET Street SS drag radial. So this is a DOT approved tire, but one thing is the difference on this and an actual radial. Let's see if I can get kind of both of them in here a little bit. If you see here, the actual tread depth on this is pretty decently, thick in there. So you actually do have a lot of tread. On these drag radials, you got about half as much. So they're kind of going with that minimum tread requirement on these tires. This tire here is actually good all season. If you're driving in the rain, you're still going to get traction. This one here, not so much. One of the biggest differences is on these tires is actually the rubber compound. This is super soft. So regular street driving, you're going to get a decent amount of mileage out of this. On these drag radials, the way most people drive on them, you might get 3,000 to 5,000 miles on them. These are not really good in the rain. As you can see, it's just got these grooves here. It does have a water channel, so it does help move it. But ideally, you really don't want to drive a whole lot of these in the rain. The other thing about this is the sidewall. You see how flexible that is? Now, while it does meet like a DOT approval rating, it's probably pretty much right at the minimum. This here is to allow the tire to somewhat wrinkle to help give that tire some traction when you're leaving the line. So this is the type of tire, though, that in the burnout box, you would do a smoky burnout, get it nice and hot, because what happens is this real sticky rubber compound gets warm and it really sticks to that track, versus this tire here where it's not going to do that. It's just going to get gummed up with that burnt rubber. So yeah, Mickey Thompson. This is also 275 60/15. I just got these in. I can't wait to try them out. It's okay for the street. You're not going to drive on them a whole lot. I mean, you can if you really want. You're just not going to get the mileage out of them. You're not going to get the ride quality out of them as maybe a radial. And one of the things is, guys, is you're not going to be cornering really hard on these either. Now, with that, I don't have one with me, but I did show you another video. The tires that I put on my dad's Dart a few years ago, actually here at Micah's shop, they're an old M&H Racemaster wrinkle wall slick. It's a bias ply tire. And the whole thing here is slick. It is super soft when warmed up. It's only got 2 small grooves, and that's more of a depth indicator on how much tread's left on those. Those are no bueno when it comes to rain. He had me yank them off because he got stuck in a rainstorm with them, and he said it was like driving on ice. Wasn't too happy with me. The other part about it is on those type of bias ply tires that are a wrinkle wall, the sidewall on them is super, super, super thin. There's really nothing in there. They wrinkle real easy. You don't run a whole lot of air pressure in those. So when you hammer it out of the hole, they're designed to wrinkle. and help plant that traction. And they will skinny up a little bit, so you got to make sure you got the right wheel well in there, A-body Mopars especially. But so yeah, that is like a bias ply, you know, slick. Super good. It's probably the best out there for traction. But yeah, you just don't want to run them a lot. And they're really drivability. They're not meant for cornering. They're not meant for any of that. They like to waffle a lot. You got to get used to them. But in my opinion, if you're a street car guy and you want to go driving during the week and you got the extra cash, go with a set of tires like this, put another set of these tires on another rim. And so when you go to the drag strip, you got these, you can still cruise on these. These right here, you can do a fun big smoky burnout on the street. These you can take the drag strip, hook up, and still have a whole lot of fun. So with that, guys, I hope you learned a little bit about tire technology. I didn't really go in depth. It's just me explaining why I went with this style tire. Overall, yeah, it's got the drivability that I'm going to be using with this car, along with the traction that I want with this car. And you know what, guys? This is a cool tire. I'm going to break the car in on these, do some smoky burnouts. But when I want to hook up, I'm going to go with my Sticky Mickeys. See you tomorrow.